Yo, Xbox and PC fans, it is your boy Josh bringing you guys my review of Doom 2016 on the PC. But before we do this, let's go back in time just a little bit. In 1992, we had some cool shooting games like Contra and Metroid, and we had cute furry little Mario running around in a squirrel suit, popping coins out of boxes. We even had frogs jumping across rivers. But we were not prepared for what was next. In 1993, John Carmack and company at id Software released Doom Upon the World. This is a game that had a shit ton of guns, chainsaws, power-ups, and demons everywhere. My mom and a lot of other moms out there absolutely hated it. It was perfect. The game that brought us two-person online multiplayer and the term deathmatch. Well, it's been 23 years, and a lot has happened since then. A lot of great shooting games have come out and a lot of ones that have sucked. But what is this game? What is the new Doom? Well, my friends, this game is a reimagining of the very first Doom. And this brand new Doom has new school everything. It's the first game ever to use id Tech 6 graphics engine. It has amazingly smooth and vicious gameplay. This game is as modern as it gets. The thing is, this is still Doom. At its core and at its heart, the crazy guns, demons, satanic artwork, and the fast-paced and in-your-face gameplay of the first Doom all make their return here. Let's dive on into the gruesome details. First up is graphics. If you can get a native resolution on this game, it looks absolutely freaking gorgeous. At all quality settings from low to ultra, this game looks absolutely superb. The really only difference that you're going to notice, at least that I can take notice from, between low and even ultra or nightmare settings, is just really a sense of atmosphere in the game. The atmosphere feels a little bit thin on the low setting compared obviously to ultra or nightmare. But overall, the game moves incredibly fast, and it looks incredibly well, like I say, regardless of what settings that you are using. And I will say this game is superbly optimized out of the gate. You know, I was running this game on the AMD 16.5.2 drivers that were available for Doom's launch, and I was getting pretty good performance on that with my 390X at 1440p. And things on ultra settings. I could not run the nightmare settings enabled. There's only two of those anyway with that driver, but still, I didn't have any complaints in terms of performance other than the inability to actually enable VSync, because that would cause my frame rate to completely tank. You know, obviously it's waiting for those synchronized frames, but you know, even more so than usual, that caused a pretty drastic drop in my FPS with that 16.5.2 driver. But recently have gotten my hands on, you guys may notice the last video I did, which was the updated drivers for 390X series cards, 16.5.2.1, which is a whole lot of numbers in there, but it equates a whole lot of performance gains for my card and also the 390 AMD cards. So if you've got one of those, performance has improved dramatically, even though it was pretty good before in my opinion. But yeah, it's back up to the NVIDIA comparable kind of one-to-one levels there in terms of price performance. But if you have anything else as well, basically any GPU north of the requirements is going to run this game pretty daggone well. I think they were targeting, 60 FPS on console, and also really wanted everybody to have a solid 60 FPS experience on the PC as well. And this game is largely scalable and able to do that on the vast majority of hardware out there. And you're going to want those frames per second too, because this game of combat is just ferocious and fast, and you're going to need to be able to get out of the way of a lot of stuff coming at you and be able to see that and respond to it as fast as possible. So my recommendation is keep your frame rates, around 60 FPS in this game. If you can have them even above 45, that tends to be very, very good for me. North of that is just fine in my opinion, for this game. But still, I wouldn't go below that in terms of an average frame rate. But it's all preference, so whatever you guys are down with. But again, regardless of frame rate, this game should look phenomenal, no matter what settings you have it on. And lighting, texturing, just everything in the game looks really, really, really good. So moving on, sound is up next. And the sound in this game, this version of Doom, is not really adjustable per se in the menu. There's not a whole lot of options in there as far as adjusting your sound quality, going from headphones to speakers, etc. But regardless of that inability to customize your sound options, the sound in here is very, very good. You're going to hear every blood-sobbing cry from these demons and their victims. Walking around in this game world, it just, it adds to the atmosphere so much. It's not just the in-game sounds, the in-engine sounds of people, gunfire and, chainsawing people in half. It's the music. They have a rock and roll history. This game used to have rock and roll playing in it. Even back in the days of Doom 1, it was old MIDI audio, but they were trying to rock out as hard as they could, and they've perfected it now. With the high fidelity of these systems nowadays, it can pump out Metallica-esque rock and roll, and it just gets your heart and your blood pumping for these fights. It is perfect for the bloodlust you're going to find yourself in when you're running around, tearing people's heads off, and shotgunning people's kneecaps off, and all kinds of good stuff going on in this game. So I play this game with the speakers on and the headphones on, and they both sounded accurate and were very, very detailed. The one exception as far as sound is concerned in this game that needs some cleaning up is between loading screens. There is some audio cutting that does occur when the game is loading, and even if you're sitting there waiting, prompted to hit A or hit Enter to go ahead and go into the next area in the game, sometimes the audio will cut out. Does not appear to be a driver issue on my machine, rather an in-game issue with the sound in that particular scenario. But other than that, game sounds phenomenal, and we're going to move on to a very important aspect of a game, any game. Next up is gameplay. Well, the gameplay, fellas and ladies, is classic Doom. This is Doom with the heart and soul of the first game, but really I feel like this is the game they always wanted to make. It's the way Doom was always meant to be. When id Software released Doom in 1993, I'm 100% sure this is the game that they wish at the time they could have made. But all the speed and ferocity of a coked up mountain lion, this game's coming at you, just teeth and fist. And it's insane. The hit detection in this game is phenomenal, as is the animations of the NPCs and the enemies you're going to run across. Their response to getting shot is genuine, and it looks incredible in motion. Melee kills are fun, and they are brutal. I wouldn't recommend passing them by either. They do help you with your health. They don't take too long and never, really get in the way or get you stuck in a spot that you don't want to be in. Some games, they have these QTE events, and they will get you kind of pinned into a corner sometimes in terms of getting you in trouble because you have to stop to perform the melee attack. Happens to me in Halo all the time. But in this game, you're rewarded and not penalized for getting those melee kills. So they have a great system for it, and genuinely, this game, the gameplay is just awesome on almost every level. Starts off kind of slow, and your guy ramps up in kind of, in terms of power and abilities, but phenomenal gameplay, and mentioning it, a very good progression system as well, not only in a single player, but the multiplayer to boot. And that actually leads us into multiplayer. The multiplayer in this game is actually shockingly deep to me. I was really surprised when I got in there, just how much actual meat and potatoes there were to this multiplayer. There are a number of game types, everything from basically a moving territories game, deathmatch, there is a soul harvest game, similar to, if you guys have played Call of Duty, it's the tags game that you can get, dog tags or whatever, very similar to that game type as well, but with spawning in demons and BFGs, and it's a kind of an arena shooter game, so it's very close quarters, very much combat all the time is in your face or very near to you. And not just regular players that have regular loadouts, but there's a lot of stuff going on in this game in multiplayer that will allow you to get a leg up on your competition and destroy some faces out there. It's really a good time in multiplayer. So on top of the standard multiplayer fare that we have available in this game, the extended amount of game types and unlockables, etc., everything from player animations, taunts, to weapon skins and armor, just like you'll have in a lot of different games. You can kind of customize the appearance of your character, etc. There is actually a similar mode to Forge. If you're familiar with Forge in Halo, kind of creating your own maps, this does not go quite that far in terms of the worlds that you can create, but it is pretty extensive. There is a feature in here called Snapmap, and this is actually its own unique executable file, as is multiplayer. If you actually select multiplayer or Snapmap in the Doom main menu, it will take you out of the game, back into Windows, and reload a different program for multiplayer or for Snapmap. But Yeah, the Snapmap feature is pretty daggone useful. You can go in there, and I created a map in like literally 2 minutes. You're just kind of cruising around the side of basically one general piece that you choose to start off with, and you can add various rooms and hallways and doors and pieces to the game very, very quickly, just using your control pad. So very, very intuitive, and allowed me to make some pretty cool maps in a very short amount of time. People do actually create some additional game types in there as well. I went through a game type earlier where a guy had actually made like a little mini level for Doom, essentially, using this Snapmap creator. And there was a boss in there. There were different keys I had to go and get and put in doors, just like the campaign. So really that can add quite a bit of life, I'm sure, to this game. The only problem with the PC version of this game, as far as Snapmap is concerned, is finding people to play. So there is, two distinct areas. One is basically dedicated to multiplayer, which has, an abundance of people. You can go in there and play on the PC, no problem. Just as you would be able to find matches on the Xbox One very, very quickly, you can go and do the same thing on the PC. However, in the Snapmap mode, the lower player count is very noticeable. I actually never got into a game of a Snapmap game type with another player. And I tried probably 4 or 5 times and let the the computer sit there for a while and try and connect to somebody to get into one of those customized Snapmap game types that have been created. And I'm talking about games that are in the Snapmap top 10 list, most popular list, things of that nature. I would go in and I would try and find somebody to party up with or just to play the game with, and there was no one to be found. That may change as more copies of this game get out there, but for the time being, that's kind of an eyesore for PC players that do not have the larger player base like Xbox Live to be able to go into these kind of random game types and get a match. But same problem persists for Star Wars Battlefront and others out there on the PC relative to their console counterparts. So other than that, multiplayer is very, very good. Snapmap is a very, very cool feature that could be used to kind of extend the life of this game, and there is quite a bit of DLC planned for this game, as I'm aware. If you want the full DLC, it'll cost you $40. Links in the description for that if you guys are into it. If you get it, I probably won't go for it right away, but if you do get it, let me know how it is below, if it's worth it, if you guys think it's going to be a good value or a crap value. Let me know in the comments below. Hope you guys really enjoyed this one. I'm not going to give this game a rating, a number, because that's just kind of a bunch of BS anyway, pull out of a hat. But I will tell you that I think this game is absolutely great. It's the game that I always wished Doom could be, and I'm sure the guys that made it back in the day thought the same thing. But yeah, guys, hell of a package here. Phenomenal campaign and story, phenomenal gameplay, phenomenal graphics and sound, and just a fantastic overall package. I'm really, really happy this game turned out as well as it did. Hope you guys can get online and check this game out too. And yeah, if you guys could like, share, rate, subscribe, whatever it takes to hook this guy up over here, I'd really appreciate it. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day or night, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.
Well, that's it then. There's nothing else to be done.